Michael again!
Jamie!
How are you?
Very well.
Wow, so this is like a special edition of the Two of Wands.
Very special indeed.
Wow, so what are we doing here?
So the core cards correspondences have always been really confusing, and I thought it might be fun to kind of go through it and explain it all.
Sure, and you've got your unique view, and
I do.
based on your unique cards
Yes.
that hopefully will be coming out.
Hopefully soon.
So that's going to be exciting one way or the other. We're not saying anything. Right?
Not yet.
Okay, so nobody else has seen his cards yet. So, but you've got your own cards. You've
Yes.
got the correspondences that you want to kind of explain that are going to go with your cards. And also, it's also some other methods that other esoterists and other people have used. So
Yeah. I wanted to just go back through all the history of the core cards.
Sounds wonderful.
All right, so let's go to the slides, and we can.
Okay.
And the minor arcana of the tarot, of course, has 4 suits: swords, cups, wands, and discs. And these 4 tarot suits evolved from earlier playing card decks. The wands were originally polo sticks. The discs were originally coins. The Moonwalk cards, right? That you happen to have. Let's show those off.
You want to see those?
Yeah.
Okay. So then we go to... And here's this. Did you want to do like the full screen?
This is good. This is good. So the Moonwalk cards come from... have been present in the area of today's Egypt from the 13th century. And you can see here we've got the polo sticks or wands, the cups, the scimitars or the swords, and the coins. So they've been... So then this is like the birth of playing cards, right?
Right.
This is where it all begins. So
and polo sticks. So by the time they got to Spain, I guess, or Italy, they didn't know what polo sticks were. Right. They just called them batons.
Exactly. So over the course of history, there's been and where's that paper that you
the
had?
one that I threw on the ground?
Yeah.
There we go.
So
that one.
So yeah, if you zoom in on here, it actually shows you that here's the Chinese.
So
Chinese, and then the Mumlock, and then Spanish and Italian and German and Swiss and French. But it goes through lots of different iterations.
It's kind of hard to find, but this is the Therese Mumlock deck. If you spin forever online and cross your fingers and hope, occasionally they pop up.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to the slide view.
Okay.
Yep, sorry.
There you go.
All right. So then over the...
Hold on. I should have... So what I've done is I've set this all up for Michael. So I've got this view, that view, that view. So he's like, okay, now go to this view, go to that view. So when you see we're flowing through, it's because we're going to that view.
Yeah. And Jamie's helping so much with all this.
So where you want to go to the second monitor?
Yes.
Okay, we're there.
All right, cool.
Good slides.
We're here. All right, so over the course of history, lots of variations: Italian, Spanish, Swiss, German, and these 4 suits morphed into the French iconic symbols, which spades and clubs are black, while hearts and diamonds are red. And I have a simple way for ordering the cards using a sequence indicated by the points or lobes in their shapes. Spades having 1 point up are first. The hearts having 2 lobes pointing up are second. Clubs with a clover having 3 lobes are third. And diamonds having 4 points are fourth. Now, 2 suits are red and 2 suits are black. This made it easy to differentiate between the suits very quickly, which is helpful when you're playing games. However, cards started to be used for more than just games. People started using them for fortune telling. So then, sometime in the early 15th century, the tarot was created, and we took a step backwards into using the original suit symbols: swords, cups, batons or wands, and coins or discs, plus a 5th suit of even more elaborate images full of esoteric symbolism called the major arcana, but let's stay focused on the minor. The original fortune tellers began linking the 4 suits to the 4 elements. Well, we can only guess which suits they linked with which elements. Cups being linked to water is the easiest guess. Almost everyone agrees on that one. Cups link with hearts, one of the two red suits. The other red suit is diamonds. Red, being the color of fire, may have led some to link diamonds, and therefore discs, with fire. This left swords and wands. Wands are made of wood from trees that grow from the ground, and so that might link with earth, leaving swords to link with air. Swords cut through the air, so that kind of makes sense, and this is the system that Gevelon and Atelier used. However, this was only one guess to what the original correspondences were. Cups for water works, but wands are like fire torches. They could also be used as firewood, whereas diamonds are dug out of the earth. So, there was a different guess that became much more popular. Air became linked with swords, water with cups, fire with wands, and earth with discs. Eliphas Levi, in his book Doctrine of Transcendental Magic, associates the tarot suits to the elements in this way, and for the most part, this has become the standard. Swords require a unity of strategic thought to wield. Cups reflect a duality of mixed emotions, toasting when happy or drowning of sorrows. Wands represent basic creative power. Unlike the artisan's sword, it only takes primal instinct to swing a club or light a torch. And coins are a symbol of a more advanced society, with agreed upon rules and structure, money. So, in addition to the primary elementary nature of the suit, each of the court cards also have a secondary nature as defined by their rank. Air equals the king, water equals the queen, fire equals the knight, and earth equals the valet or page. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn had additional ideas regarding the elemental correspondences with the Kabbalah, Tree of Life. And at the top of the tree are the elements of water and fire. Now, this didn't work with the tarot system that had kings linked with air, because that would mean that the knight linked with fire would be above the king. So, Samuel L. McGregor Mathers, a founder of the Golden Dawn, renamed his knight a king. But the artwork still features a young man on horseback because the king is a night king, linked to fire. And the original king, he renamed a prince. The prince king is sitting down in a chariot, much like a throne, and is linked to air. He also renames his page a princess, linked to earth. This was all done to make the Tree of Life elemental correspondences work. A fairy tale was even used as a way to try and explain this. Once there was a knight, fire, who rode swiftly and met a great queen, water. They unite in marriage, temporarily becoming one, up in Kether. The knight, in his passion, shot forth his seed and slept. The queen, receiving this seed, became reflective, for she had conceived. She was delivered of twins, the prince, air, and the princess, earth. The prince was seen as having the best qualities of his two parents, and so he was given the greatest and most central part of the kingdom to rule. The princess, however, was most misunderstood and banished, exiled to the lowest part of the world. The prince never forgot her and longed to be reunited. The princess, however, being so far from home, forgot who she was and slept for a long time. One day she awoke, discovered the prince, had remembered and longed for her, and ridden forth to meet her, and they were united in marriage, becoming the new king and queen. And the cycle repeats. Fire is symbolized by the dashing knight. Water is symbolized by the queen. The red fire knight and the blue water queen unite as one, blending into a royal purple. And the knight becomes a king. The fiery king falls asleep, Chakma. The queen becomes reflective and conceives, Bina. And 2 children are born. Air is symbolized by the prince. Now, the prince represents our higher consciousness, or what Aleister Crowley called our guardian angel. The prince provides the connection between the crown, which is the fire and water, and the kingdom, which is earth. Earth is symbolized by the princess, who's banished to the material world, Malkuth. But the princess is our normal state of being. Being so far away from heaven, or Kether, she forgot who she was and slept for a long time. This means she became unspiritual. The prince, our higher self, never forgets the princess, our lower self, and longs to be reunited. One day the princess wakes up. Maybe the prince kisses her, maybe a bit more. But she unites with the prince, who transforms into the new king, and the princess transforms into the new queen, and the cycle keeps repeating. Now, Arthur Edward Waite, member of the Golden Dawn, decides to make a tarot with the help of Pamela Coleman Smith, and Waite uses the same system as Mathers, but went back to the original names. So the king of both Mathers and Waite is equivalent to the original knight, linked with fire. Likewise, the prince of Mathers, or the knight of Waite, is equivalent to the original king, linked with air. Then Aleister Crowley, another member of the Golden Dawn, decides to make a tarot with the help of Lady Frida Harris. Crowley, unlike Mathers and Waite, didn't see himself bound to the old oaths of secrecy and subterfuge, so the knights of his Thoth deck are associated with fire, as they should, and the prince is associated with air, equivalent to the original kings. Now, he doesn't call his prince a king because then his knight would outrank him. He's trying his best to clarify things and still have the Tree of Life fairy tale analogy work. And then finally, I come along. My name is Michael Auger, and my tarot is called the Allcento. And personally, I didn't feel the need to make the fairy tale analogy work. I felt it was already a forced metaphor that had made things way too confusing. So I went back to the original elemental correspondences. So the seated kings in my deck are linked with air, as they should. And the young men on horseback, I call them chevaliers, but they're knights, and they are linked with fire, as they should. And the princess, I call her a page. She goes back to her original title, but she's linked with earth, rather. She's linked with earth, as she should. And in this Tree of Life correspondence, my chevalier, associated with fire, would outrank the king, but I don't care about preserving the idea of monarchy rulership anyway, so I think it's okay to take the king down a notch. And here's a chart to make it all make sense, hopefully. Everybody agrees water is the queen. Earth is the valet or page, and Mathers calls her a princess to have that male-female balance. Waite goes back to the original title of page. Crowley calls her a princess again. I go back to coloring her page. But, that's the second least confusing. It's air and fire where things get a little bit more complicated. So the fire is a knight. He's a man of action, riding into battle. Mathers makes that knight a king so that the Tree of Life correspondences work, and Waite continues that. But Crowley says, you know what? It's not a king. It's actually a night king. We'll call the king a prince. But let's make things straight here. The fire is the knight, and I agree. I just call him a chevalier. Now the king should be air, and Mathers calls him a prince, again, to make that Tree of Life thing work. Waite calls him a knight, making it a little bit more confusing. Crowley says, no, it's a king. We'll call him a prince, but it's a king, and I just call him a king. So in addition to the Tree of Life correspondence, the Golden Dawn also made a connection with the Tetragrammaton. There are 4 elements, there's 4 court card ranks, and there's also 4 letters in the divine name of God. So, another correspondence. Yod is described as the supernal father who has a swift and violent action. They call this the first swirlings. And really that's another name for the Big Bang. It's that fiery action that gets everything going, and this links with the knight on horseback, a man of action. So the 4 knights link to Yod. He is described as the supernal mother, linked to water, to balance the fire. And the 4 queens, seated passively on the throne, is the He. Val is described as the son of fire and water. It's air. And this is the prince who's seated on a chariot or a throne. And air is invisible, so his power is illusionary unless set into motion by his parents. And then we see its effects. But both the knight and the prince can both be thought of as kings. The Night King is stronger in physical power, while the Prince King is stronger intellectually speaking. And then there's the final He, described as the wife of the sun, who stands alone, linked to the 4 pages and the element of earth. And that's who we are. We're the page. And with the help of our Prince Charming, we can reunite with the divine parents. And the divine name of God, YHVH, is often pronounced Yahweh. But the actual pronunciation of this word is a secret. The secret is, it's not a word, but the sound of breath being inhaled, YH, and exhaled, VH. And that it's written, right, that in the beginning there was the word, but the word is actually the first breath of life. So air can be thought of as that first element, even though it sits at the center of the tree of life, because it provides the connection between the crown, fire and water, and the kingdom, earth.
Gotcha. So I've never heard that. That's interesting with the air.
Flip back to the main camera, yeah.
Oh, here we go.
But yeah, it's just different ideas of how are we going to make the correspondences work, where you get the variations, and some are more complicated than others. I like the simple way, and hopefully that this has made things a little simpler.
Yeah, and I think that with the correspondences, it's more of the focus of your spiritual focus. So whether the Fool is in the beginning of the deck, and that's where you're going to start the alphabet, or if it's towards the end. It's the path that you follow, and it's the focus, so for me, it's like, does it really matter as long as you have a set of rules, or if you have a path to follow, to focus, to move up from the page up to, from
Malkuth to Kether. Yes, exactly. Yeah, we gotta you can use the tarot for fortune telling and that kind of thing. You can also use it as a tool for meditation and achieving enlightenment by focusing on the Tree of Life correspondences and those kind of things.
Right.
So it just depends on how you wish to use these magical cards.
So everybody comes along, different opinions when they see them. DeGeblin saw an Egyptian card in there, and then later on other people...
It was a good guess.
Other people come along and they see this is a knight, no, this is a king, well, this should be a princess. It's not that they are wrong.
There is no right or wrong.
There is no right or wrong in the tarot.
Yeah.
Some people have preferences.
Exactly. And I certainly, I know you do. I certainly do, and hopefully this explains.
Oh yeah, my way's right. There is no right and wrong, but my way's right.
But your way's right. Yeah, but Waite definitely had. We know, but yeah, but Waite definitely had his view. Crowley had his. Mathers had his, and it's neat to see all the variations.
Right, and it comes down to personal study, and this is, I guess, just kind of like a foundation, and you're going to be having your cards come out. Exactly. That will help find a foundation.
I hope to take it to, have one more path that gives people a choice to follow. So look for my Allcento Tarot coming soon.
Woo! Anything else?
That's it.
Michael?
Jamie.
It's good to see you again.
Yeah, indeed.
Awesome.